Welcome back to another episode of the Highlight Reel. I'm very excited today because we have another special guest. We have another banger coming up. I'm gonna let my friend introduce herself. Go ahead.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's your name?
My name is Lacy Tally.
Yes, ma'am.
And I am a multi-disciplinary artist based here in Cleveland.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Lacy and I met in college. We were I think I met you before. We were in this pageant together, but we were in the Black Women event called the Renaissance Ball together.
We were.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We were in that event together, and I think that was really the first time we really met, and we got to talk a lot. And I remember I saw a lot of your art. I always loved seeing your art, and I always figured that you were a very interesting individual to me. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we got this together for you to be a guest. Because this episode was supposed to happen already, but we ran into some stuff. So, I'll take blame for that. We had an episode scheduled, and I think I just didn't say the time we were going to shoot. And she was like, well, you never said the time. I was like, dang. So another episode ended up happening because of that. I won't say which one, but things happen how they do. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely am very excited for this episode, and I'm looking forward to everything that we talk about. So, yeah. So tell me where we are right now.
So we are at Lounges, and it's in downtown Cleveland. So it is a perfect space for like creatives and artists to host events, workshops, everything. Have an outdoor patio.
Yeah, so where we are right now is a really, really nice spot. It's a lot of I was telling her it's kind of like a movie in here. You walk in, it's not your conventional kind of space. It's a lot that can take place in here, a lot of people that can be here. So it's like I see that you can have someone at the front greeting people, all those different things. So it's a lot of different purposes for this area. So I like this. Yeah. And we also have a lot of your work in here, which we're definitely going to be talking about. So what made you want to record in here?
So this is like my second home. Yeah. I'm here, if not every other day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Okay. So you'll be here doing what?
Just creating.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you ever come in here for inspiration or just?
I usually come here if my mind is clouded and I need like a release, because I always just have like a free flowing mind when I come here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A free flowing mind. Okay. So you come in here with the open space, or you come in here kind of focused, knowing that you want to get something done when you come in here? Which one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you never come in here. You don't necessarily come in here to find the inspiration. You already have the inspiration. This is where you come to work it out.
Because it's just like the energy and the space just brings it to life even more. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I actually want to know, well, really, what are some other things that you've been doing as of recently with your art?
Well, it's been a few things.
Okay.
So in this space, I host my I Am Affirmation paint and sip classes. So those classes are just focused around practicing I Am Affirmations and using them in your everyday practice. So I do those here. Art shows coming soon.
Okay.
What else have I been doing? Oh, art installations.
What is that?
So it's it varies. So it's kind of like a pop-up exhibit or like a huge display of one of my art pieces. So like an example would be the murals I've done for Juneteenth Fest. Yeah.
So you do get some of your artwork put on buildings and different things like that? Or not yet? You working toward that?
Yeah. Okay. The ink is not dry. But coming soon.
Yeah. Okay. Because now that we're talking about that, it sounds like you have to sometimes, because I know you have an online store, and I know that you do sell some of your art.
Yeah.
But not all of your art. So how do you balance basically being a creative and being, a business person? How do you balance that?
Woo! So how I break it down, I do it by days. So it's like,
okay.
Yeah.
It's about to be interesting.
So like on Sundays and Mondays are like my planning days. So like I would plan my content for like my email blast, Instagram, and you know how Instagram and Facebook are connected. So that knocks two out one down. And I recently added YouTube on to the schedule. But I use those 2 days for planning days. Tuesday and Wednesday are like my heavy like computer days. Thursday is my kind of like the self-care day where I work in clay and just create. And Friday is like a mixture between both of those.
You work in clay.
Yeah. I love it so much.
So does that help? Okay, why do you love it so much?
So I'm in an art therapy class, and it just helps like slow down time. Like when I was a kid, I used to play in a lot of dirt and mud and make mud pies, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Yeah. So then I found clay. I took a class at Kent. That's when they like came back, and I was like, oh, I like this. Yeah.
It helps you. So, because as soon as you said that, I could see how, basically molding some clay, I don't want to say it so bland like that, but how molding clay can kind of help you to just relax and release, because it's not like you have to make any kind of particular thing. You could just make what you want. Is it with the little circle thing? So, or no? That's all I think about. It's from a movie too.
So it's two different ways. So you can either do like I don't even remember the name of it. Crazy. You can either do it the way with the spinny, or you hand build. I like to hand build. Okay. I build the characters I paint on my canvas. I create them 3D.
You said the characters on your canvases, you create them 3D, and you get that inspiration from the clay?
No. So like the ones I paint. So like, let's say I wanted to paint that lady right there. And then I would just build her in the clay. Wow. Yeah. Because
I would say I'm a creative as well. I like art, but I think I tend to put an expectation on my own art. Ooh. Oh, no. Why you make that face?
Oh. Well, keep going.
So, okay. So we're going to definitely have to dive into that. But even though I like to let things flow, to an extent, I still have an expectation of goodness or greatness.
Okay, never mind. I take the face back.
Yeah. Oh, you do too. So you do too?
So like when I create, I don't set any expectations. Because if I do, it's like if I set an expectation and I don't hit, it's like, But if I don't set any and I go past my thoughts and what could even happen, it's a win. Yeah, so just let it flow.
It's just because it's weird. I always find myself in this very juxtapositional spot where I feel like I'm cool with whatever and just letting things flow, but at the same time, I want it to be good. And I think that might be why I got out of maybe painting and things like that. Because I think when I first learned how to draw a 3D box, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm on to something. I'm about to start drawing buildings and everything. And then painting, I used to think that, it's not just like a coloring book where you're just filling in spaces with color, right? You have to create something. And I feel like mine would just be just colors on a page or on a canvas, right? I always wanted to be something like this or, something like it. I just always wanted to have a certain form, but I have no idea of where to let it go. Because of that, I think I put myself in a spot that I can't get out of.
So let me help you get out that spot.
Okay. Okay.
So one of the ways to try to get out of that space is to let the feelings take over you when you create. So like when I created this, I can't really see it. But like when I would create like a piece and I would just go into it with how I'm feeling, like no rhyme, no reason. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to let my hand flow. And it's like the story comes out through my hand.
Oh, that's a bar. Thank you. So you just, okay. So as you're just letting things, come about, you just it's almost like you're letting the picture paint itself.
Yeah.
You're just like the vessel for it.
I am just a vessel.
Wow. Cause I feel like that, I like rapping and whatnot. I did that in the talent show, right?
Yeah.
I've always loved that. But even with that, I still have a certain expectation. I always expect it to sound, if it doesn't sound good to me, cause like I have an expectation of myself, if it doesn't sound good to me, then I won't really, I can tell if it's not good or not to me, of course. But I let that like I'll freestyle sometimes, but other times I'll write, right? So I think that's kind of similar, but it's still hard for me because I think I'm just one that puts expectations on myself. Maybe that's just who I am as a person in this world. But I definitely have my moments where I just like to let things flow.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I do feel very free. Because I wanted to ask you, sometimes when you're creating, do you ever just close your eyes and just let whatever happen?
Like continuously, like eyes closed?
Yeah. Like seriously. Because I mean, that's, at that point, you're just feeling everything. I was watching a YouTuber play this video game, right? It was the game is called Detroit Becoming Human. So it's basically about cyborgs or, androids that they look like humans and everything. Look like humans, sound like humans, but they're androids. But they start to gain human traits throughout the game, right? In the game, there was an android that his caretaker or the person he was taking care of, he said, I want you to paint something. And this is when he started to feel emotions. He said, close your eyes. Now, of course, he has a lot of data and probably just techniques in his brain, but he said, close your eyes and just make something, right? Because you're not looking at it. So when you're not looking at something, you're just feeling it, right? Even if you know how to do it, because you're not looking at it, it takes some things away and it enhances other senses. So I feel like in that manner, you're really just free flowing. So that's why I was asking, because in a game like that, maybe that's a little far fetched for a example somewhat, but it used that example. That example was used to show the viewer, the gamer, right, that many of us can be capable of these same things. And it showed like even other life forms might be capable of that, basically. So I know that's a very, very long-winded explanation, but that's why I was asking. Cause I would think maybe you do sometimes when you just want to let things flow.
I haven't painted or created with my eyes closed, but I would use my opposite hand sometimes. Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels great.
How? Why?
It just like,
I would think that feels nasty.
It feels no.
I mean, so you're right-handed.
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever you have to write with your left hand, to me that is a nasty feeling. That's why I'm like, I value, if I have to give an arm, I know which one is gone, right? Because if anytime I hurt my right hand or anything like that, and I have to write with my left hand, I feel like a child because I don't know how to do it. I'm not ambidextrous. Some people are. I'm not. So when I have to do that, it feels nasty, but that feels good for you.
But have you painted with your left hand?
I think it's the same thing. It's a mental thing.
It's very different.
Explain that.
So like writing with your left hand, it's like, but painting with it, I feel like some things have more precision. Cause you just gotta try it,
That's great. More precision in the hand that you use less.
Yeah. Like let's say I'm painting on a really large canvas. Yeah. And it's like, I gotta paint something on this side. I don't want to have to move my whole body to the other side of the canvas. I would just use this hand.
No. Again, maybe I'm fixated, but even when I feel things naturally will come better to my right hand, my left hand will be like, maybe that's a mental block thing.
Yeah, you gotta try it.
Maybe I'm not as artistic as I think then.
No, it's in there. You just gotta.
That's a mental thing though. That sounds like a mental block. As we're talking about it, I'm thinking that sounds like a mental thing. And if I just release that, then maybe I'd free that up.
Well,
right?
I got some paint in my car and a canvas. Okay. So we can do this today.
Oh, so you might be onto something. Because as I'm thinking about this and, having a mental block and releasing things, do you feel like because you get to creatively express through your painting, do you feel like you kind of release trauma?
Oh, absolutely.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I released a lot of trauma through my paintings.
Speak on that a little bit. You don't have to get too deep in anything, but yeah.
Like actually what sparked all my latest pieces from 2021 till now.
Yeah.
A lot of those were trauma pieces.
They 2021 till now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't look like it to the naked eye, but once you look in the details, it's like, what's going on in here?
See, I think that's beautiful because, of course, you the creator and you the artist, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
But in a lot of the pieces that I see from you, I see colors. I love a lot of colors. Yes. I love, I think that provides personality, of course, right? So for me, that's one of one of the most beautiful things about art. Because you saying that it's trauma, but when I'm looking at it, I'm inspired, or I think that it's beautiful, or I would like to share it with someone because I think it tells a story. Yes. And you said that's like a release. I think that's just one of the coolest things because it shows how perspective is important as far as these different, mediums. Because again, I wouldn't even think that when I'm looking at your art. There's so much color in it. So explain a little how you use these to release this trauma, basically, or whatever you were experiencing.
Yeah. So
I think my fault. So my last thing was, my question was basically, do you feel like you would maybe add more color to things because certain situations didn't feel as colorful, or to maybe inspire that in your life?
So it kind of comes back to being the vessel. Cause like my hand would choose the colors.
I'm listening to you.
It's hard to explain because it's like a lot of the pieces I created. So when I create, it's kind of like I would black out in a little bit. Like my eyes would just go like, tss, and then the piece would just come to life.
Wow.
Yeah.
You would black out and the piece would come to life. Being the vessel. Okay. Because when we were talking about being a vessel and letting the art kind of be, I started to wonder, so when you see your art, do you feel like I'm just a vessel, and like, do you feel like you take credit for the work?
Absolutely.
But you're the vessel.
It's still me.
Yeah. You're just basically letting these feelings and these, like all these different feelings and expressions just come about on this canvas. Okay. Yeah.
Like I have some pieces, like I'll look back at my sketchbook. I'm like, I don't remember sketching this. When did I do this?
Wow.
Yeah. Just cause like that space I would be in, it's just like, I would just let it all out on the paper or the canvas.
How does your creativity show through in your in your day-to-day life?
I would say in the way that I dress.
Okay.
The tattoo on my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say, can you ask again?
So basically, how does your creativity show up in your everyday life?
Oh, I would say like my days are very creative. I like to have like a little structure, but I still like to have different days. Like I don't like to do the same thing every day unless it's like working out. Like that's the one thing.
We're actually going to talk about that in a second. Yeah, we're actually going to talk about that. So explain, like, for example, you said it shows up or it doesn't show up in working out, but it shows up in these other things. So you said in your dress, and you're like, you have tattoos. Yeah. Do you ever just go out in nature and just try to think about things like that?
I love nature.
Okay.
Like, I'm going on a hike after this.
Oh, okay. So, like, why? Why do you do that?
So, I've always been like a very outdoorsy type of girl, you know? And whenever I'm in nature, I just feel more grounded and just connected to myself.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's necessary. Like last week, I was at the lake like every single day. Cause like, I just needed to be around a calming body of water.
That is so beautiful to hear. Cause I don't hear that often. You know, I feel like most of us are just used to being in, you know, concrete jungles. Basically, we're just always around a city, not really, like even now we both have our shoes off. You know what I mean? As we're recording this, and I think like just even being in this space right now, I do feel, you know, more relaxed because it's like, this is a space that I'm not typically in, but I also wanted to make sure I'm kind of in the space that you are usually. Cause I think I saw that you took your shoes off fast. I was like, oh shoot. Like, so you're normally in this kind of space. And I'm guessing that helps you show up as a creative. Okay.
Yeah. I like to be comfortable.
Yeah. Cause I do too, but I noticed that I don't do those things a lot. And I can see how if I was, I would probably feel more at peace, more at ease because I tend to scroll on social media a lot. Do you do that?
So I've been catching myself. Like the one, I did have like a little bad habit of Twitter at nighttime.
Oh, yeah.
That was just for like, you know, shits and giggles.
Yeah. Cause I mean, again, I don't really think I'm not really one that would say I have anxiety, but when I do get on social media, I've noticed that I get anxious. I'm also I'm very much a social butterfly. So if I feel like I'm missing out, I'm one of those weird people that kind of gets FOMO or whatever. It's like, dang, I really wish I was there, you know? And now here I am watching you do it. I wish I was there. I can't do it at this time. So it's like my heart starts to beat faster a little. I'm thinking, dang, I'm missing out. But there's a piece that comes with being detached from that. And I think I want to start using other creative ways or other ways of being disciplined to detach from that, because then I'm focusing more on myself and who I am.
Would you like some tips?
Yeah, of course.
So one of the things I practice before going on social media is like setting an intention before I go on. So it's like, why am I going on here? And so I have to answer that, and then I have to stick to that and then hop off. So it's like, I set the intention, I set a time limit on how long I can be on it, especially like during my work days. So I do like an hour straight of work with like no interruption of the phone. And then I do like 15 minutes of like social media, walking around, and then you hop back into it.
Wow.
Yeah. It helps with like being productive and like keeping it flowy. Cause I stare at the computer a lot. So it's like,
eyes get to burning.
Yeah, you know, headaches come on. It's like, I gotta walk. So then it's like, you do an hour, 15-minute break, then an hour and 30 work session, then a 30-minute break. And you just keep going like that. Wow. Or you can cap it wherever you feel more comfortable.
I will say, when I get on social media, I don't like set an intention. I do. As soon as you said, I said, wow, that would make things a lot easier. If I said, I'm going out here to get information, I'm more likely to seek the information compared to just being out here like, I wonder what's happening right now, or I'm bored. Usually it's like, all right, I'm bored for 5 minutes. Let me see what's going on. But if I say, okay, I want to see what the newest trends in this industry are, or I want to see what this particular friend did today, even something as simple as that, I think it helps to set an intention, because a lot of the times I've realized, or I've noticed, I'll get on social media and I went on there for one thing. Let's say I accidentally pressed the search button or something like that. Then it shows everything that you're kind of interested in. I click that, click out, click on something else, go down a rabbit hole, and then I'll say, why did I get on here? You know? So I run into that a whole lot. So I think definitely setting an intention will help me to do that and to make sure that I'm using my time more wisely, because I want to be a better steward of my time. I think as young people, we feel like we have all the time in the world. And yes, we may have time on our side, but you actually don't know when that time is up. So you should still be a good steward of it to, you know, make the most of the time that you have, right?
Yeah.
But from that, just from the time that you just gave me and the splits, you sound disciplined.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my questions that I knew I was going to have for you, because I know you are on a weight loss journey.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Shout out to you. I know that you were talking about how you kind of had to be disciplined to do, to attain those goals. So does being disciplined and being a creative ever collide and make things harder for you in a way?
Like if I'm not disciplined in my craft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Explain.
So it's like I've been working for myself for 3 years.
Shout out to you.
Thank you. Yes. So it's like I have no one to set my schedule. I have to do it. So I have to be disciplined in that. Who's going to check me? Nobody. Well, maybe my friends, but they're not going to hold me accountable every single day. Right. Like I have to do
like
that.
I was saying, you got to hold yourself accountable because this is something you want to do.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like I have to set my schedule every day. I have to plan my weeks out way in advance, months in advance of certain things. Then go back and like, look, I hit the internal deadlines. So it's like, if I'm not disciplined in that, and like when people reach out to me for different gigs, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if I got something to do that day.
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's like, you have to know your schedule so you can like avoid any type of friction.
Doesn't discipline bring friction to your life though? It doesn't.
I don't think so.
Discipline does not bring friction into your life?
I feel like it helps me avoid friction. It helps plan out let's say, I have to be disciplined because if I'm not disciplined, then I'm not planning ahead of time. And if I'm not planning ahead of time, I miss things or I show up not 100%. And it's like, what's the reason to not show up 100% when you have all this time to do it? Yeah. Oh, because you're not disciplined.
It's just an interesting perspective because I've heard other ladies that are creators basically say, because basically for you to be disciplined, you have to put in the work. Yeah. Right? And that doesn't come easy. Like, did it come easy?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay. Okay. Why wasn't it so easy?
Because I wasn't used to being disciplined. It wasn't something I grew up seeing around. So it's just like, I'm going to just do what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, if you want to hit your plans and your goals, you have to be disciplined in it.
Okay. Because I was also thinking about how I've heard how creativity is like a muscle, right? And for you to get better with your creativity, for example, for me, right? I don't know what's going on.
My God.
We are in Cleveland, so
yeah,
it's cool.
They're practicing.
Yeah, but no, because I keep bringing it back to this, but I basically did an exercise, at the beginning of the year where I had not been, let's just say I hadn't been exercising one of my creative muscles for a while. So I was consistent for 100 days for it, right? To see if things would come better, things would come faster. And I feel like over time they did because I'm in this mode now. My brain is kind of trained to always be thinking of things. And I think that helps you to actually be more creative, to do more with your creativity because you kind of lock certain things down and set certain standards in stone to basically say, okay, I'm going to do this at this time or this way. And it's going to free other things up, which is what I've heard about discipline. I've also experienced it, but it's so weird how when you sacrifice something for something else, it actually frees you in a way.
And it feels good.
Yeah, it's just like it, because I know for me, it's hard for me to not be social. But then when I have those times where it's like, all right, for this period of time, I'm kind of going to be tunnel vision, right? Then when I get the goal, it's like, that was worth it. Why not do it again? But I think it's just hard I would think for some creatives, it's harder to deal with that because they like to let things come to them when they do. So that's why I was saying maybe discipline. I don't know if it helps things come to you better, or you feel like you're always training it, so you're forcing it.
I wouldn't say. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the first part.
Okay.
It does train you to be better, but it also, what was the second thing you said?
Basically, like I was talking about, does it free you and allow? So when you're not disciplined, maybe some things come a little easier because you're not forcing it. Do you feel like you're forcing it when you're disciplined? Maybe.
No, I feel like I'm creating structure, and like once you create structure within your craft, it opens the door for more things to come in because it's an easier pathway. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just like seeing how discipline shows up in different fields for different people, different personalities, because I feel like for this, a lot of people in their 20s, right? A lot of young people, discipline is not something they want to deal with. It's just not. And I, for a while, didn't want to. And then when certain things will happen, I'm like, tough. You know, it's my fault. But when you are disciplined, you have to sacrifice. Yeah. Understand that. You do have to sacrifice something when you are staying disciplined. But the beauty that comes on the other side of that.
It's so rewarding.
It's like, whoa. If I would have known this when I was 5 years old, I would have given a lot of things up. That's why when I see younger people that are disciplined, I'm like, where did you get that from? How are you? Because I know people have, like my dad has tried to instill discipline in me, right?
Yeah.
As far as like, I'm gonna be honest, he would like make me make my bed. To me, that never made sense. When I was younger, it didn't make sense. But as I get older and I see people that make their bed up, it's like, okay, that's a small reward. You gave this up, but it's a reward. You start your day off like that. Yeah. So it just builds. So when you could like basically discipline can compound and it can build to other things. And like you said, bring more to you.
Yes.
So you feel like it has brought more to you. Like once you got disciplined, you feel like that's when you started to really take off.
Yeah. Cause like being disciplined, I had to sit, and that's another thing is like sitting with yourself and really learning who you are. It like taught like, so that time when I was like in solitude and I was practicing discipline and sitting with myself, it showed me like, it gave me time to really figure out what I wanted to do and not what other people want to see me as, you know? Because like, if you don't have a clear vision of how you want to present yourself or the way you want to be presented, people will present you the way that they see fit.
Right. Okay. I like that.
That comes with being disciplined and really staying true to yourself and what you stand for.
It's a very, very interesting perspective. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I do want to pivot though really quick.
All right.
So, what year were you born?
You got to guess. You got 2 tries.
So I'm going to guess 96.
You got one more try.
95.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was curious because when I speak to you or whenever I see you, I get, and I want you to take this the wrong way.
Elder?
No. So when when I'm around you, in a way, your personality is kind of childlike as far as, you know, you're very bubbly. That's one of my favorite things about you. You always seem like in good spirits and very open. And man, they going crazy with the flights today.
Yeah.
So you just always seem very open, very just like again, bubbly. I always love to see it because whenever I'm around you, I feel like I get uplifted. I'm gonna laugh, you know, I'm gonna feel more colorful, you know. Where does that come from?
It's just in my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like life is short. Why not just be happy and spread love and show love to your friends and family and really just create a dope story, you know?
Yeah. Because this is our first time seeing each other in years.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw you, I was like, man, I forgot. You're very outwardly bubbly, just very colorful personality. And I'm 24, so I know you're older than me. But when I talk to you, I feel like you kind of have, at least, I feel like I can see your inner child, which is beautiful because a lot of people, they, shy away from that, or they feel like I can't be like this anymore. It's like, bro, that, like you said, life is short, and I'm sure that there are still things that your inner child wants you to accomplish and things that you wish you were actually doing. You know what I mean? Because like for you, you're actually making money from your art and you're doing things with your art. So I can see how your inner child will show through because that's probably a dream of yours, and here you are living it. So when I see you, I feel like I'm reminded of how much you are like that and how much I'm kind of similar to that and how much others are not. Because I know that's harder for some people. Yeah.
So like I feel like I've always been this way.
Okay.
But I feel like it's gotten more amplified after I was in therapy, and we like did like a lot of practices of me like speaking to my inner child and hearing her. So it's like we hold hands every day.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's certain things that I had to look back at myself and like, why am I reflecting these things as an adult? It's because we haven't corrected it with my inner child.
Right. Wow. Therapy. Wow.
Necessary.
Yes, it is. I've never been to therapy.
Yeah.
But I will go one day. I've always thought it was be a fun, exercise. Not just exercise, but a fun experience and a very essential experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to know because, again, when I see you, I don't see too many people like that. You know what I mean? It's like they still have this certain energy about them. I feel like as people get older, the world, they kind of let what's going on in the world take over who they are at the core. Like, bro, if you're a silly and goofy person, show that at 40, 50, because then when you see another silly child, they'll be like, oh, you're just, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm an adult, but I was like you at one point. So I think that helps others keep that energy, and I think it would just bring more light and, positivity into the world. Because some people are like, man, you could never do that. Whenever people say that to me, they're like, oh, you could never do this. You could never accomplish that.
Oh, my goodness. You just don't think that big. That's like one of my number one rules. If you're my friend, you cannot say the word can't around me.
Okay.
Because it's not acceptable. Yeah. No.
Right.
No.
So do you feel like as you've gotten older, you've kind of had to, let's say, audit your friend circle, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel that. Cause I think that's a harsh reality that we all have to face. Some people are blessed with, the friends that they've known for a while and they work for them in many situations. They don't really have to change things, but I've learned having friends in high school, having friends in college, then being outside of college for a little while. We all are living our lives. So we all have to learn how to deal with each other differently because we're all moving differently and growing differently.
Yeah.
So that's a harsh reality, but I think that again, when you know who you are to your core, you do going to therapy, staying disciplined, different things like that show you, okay, who do I need to be around, or who do I need around me? So I think it's beautiful that you've been able to do that, and you do have friends, or at least in your circle of friends. I could tell that if you're saying you can't say can't, it reprograms you. You have to say, okay, I maybe will not do this right now, but it is possible. It's not like I'm not capable of doing it. I just didn't put in the effort. That's a different thing. You could, but you just didn't. That's a different thing.
My friend calls me the positive bully.
The positive bully.
I accept that.
You accept that? That's funny. You accept that. No, I think I'm something like that as well. Well, it's weird. I kind of dabble the line between being very real, like being a realist, but being optimistic. I was prepared for the worst, hope for the best. So I feel like that's what makes me do both. Because I feel like when you're prepared for the worst, then that puts you in a good position. But of course, you're hoping for better than the worst.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah. But out of all your pieces, so you said this piece right here is kind of what started it all. No. You said that this piece triggered something.
So this is the first piece that I built from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to Home Depot. I found the wood. I cut the wood.
Okay.
We had to nail it together, and then I had to wrap the canvas. Then I had to gesso the canvas. Mm-hmm. That was the first time I ever built a canvas. It was for one of my senior projects at Kent. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah. So you enjoyed the process of kind of having to do it yourself, but making it beautiful.
Yeah.
And you feel like that's what sparked you to do more of that?
I would say no. I would say the piece that sparked I have to think about that. What piece that was. I know what moment in my life it was, but what piece it was.
Yes.
I feel like it started with the nucleation shows that I did last year. Okay. That's what sparked everything.
Okay. Wow. Why?
So I made that show. Well, me and Khalil, Just Cause, we created that show together.
Yeah. And shout out to him.
Yeah. And the show is called Nucleation, a New Structure via Self-Assembly or Self-Organization. So are you familiar with the process of a crystal becoming a crystal? So
yeah.
The first part of a crystal actually crystallizing is called nucleation. And if you see in my work, I love to use crystals in my work as they're like a reflection of me. So when I was transitioning into this new version of myself, I felt like I was in a nucleation. I was becoming a new version of myself.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was very vulnerable in that show. So I made like a specific playlist that went along with like my timeline of 2021.
Oh, yeah. I love when music is incorporated. So you speaking to me.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like I did that, and that was the first time I sang in public. I love to sing.
You were singing a little bit as we were setting up. I was like, you sing? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it was like I really wanted to. I was like. It was kind of like a wake-up call in my life. I was just tired of... I felt like I was letting things happen to me and I wasn't taking control of my own narrative. So it was like, I was like, I'm just not going to play small anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Show all my talents because they're in there.
Exactly.
And my little inner child was like, let it out.
Yeah.
So that was the first show I was just very vulnerable and transparent about the things that were going on in my life. And that, I felt so good.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Because I think for artists, when I get to see, artists making a living from their art, to me, that's like a dream come true.
Yeah.
You love to do it. And when you want to do it, or like you say, you're disciplined with it. But when you set the time aside to do it, you love to do it. And you also know this will also lead to something for you to help you sustain the life that you live.
Yeah.
So I know that, because I know for me, as soon as a certain dream, as soon as it's something I love to do, it is also helping me sustain my life. It's so easy to do it. And I love to do it without it. And I know you love to do it without it. So once you know it, there's that extra reward in there. You're like, bro, this is like, the cherry on top. Because I was already doing it. So now that I'm being kind of rewarded for something I love to do, like, what do you mean? Like, why wouldn't I do it?
It just feels so good. You can feel it in your back.
Exactly. Your back. Exactly. But I wanted to ask you, because, as we're starting to wrap up and everything, I did want to ask you, what are 3 of the biggest lessons that you've learned as a young person on their creative journey?
Let me sit with it for a little second. Okay. I would say, number 1 is like a 2 for 1. Bet on yourself and don't play small. Put it out there because someone's going to love it. Don't let your own reservations hold you back from posting that YouTube channel or making that post or making that call. Just do it.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen is someone says no.
Yeah.
Then you just move on.
Right.
And Can I get like 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so, I always like just network and then keep in contact with those connections, rather it's do like an email list serve. Just always want to have that open line of communication, especially with people who collect your work. I would say one of the last things to do is to really move with pure intentions and love and align yourself with people who do the same.
Okay. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Because if you're not moving like with pure intention,
yeah,
the universe will know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't cover that up.
Right. Because we've definitely talked a lot about, like, even though when you think of creativity, I think people think of, free forming, just flowy. I hear a lot about, in this conversation, we talked a lot about discipline and intention. Mm-hmm. So you feel like those show up tremendously in your work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like if you don't move with intention, you just welcome any type of energy to you. You just open yourself to anything. You don't want that.
Yes, ma'am.
But what are yours? Yeah, I'm going to throw it back to you.
What you mean? Like, my biggest lessons that I've learned?
Yeah.
So this is like the biggest one. Basically, be willing to put in the work for whatever it is that you want. Because I've learned that you cannot get mad at the results you do not get from the work you do not do. I swear, I feel like I've been just living on that. That's why when people say I'm like always working or I'm always doing a lot, it's like, well, I want all these things or I want this. So I know I have to do it. I know I have to put in the work for it.
And it's something you love to do. So it's not even really like work.
Yeah.
It's just you.
Exactly. There's that. Try not to take so many things personal. That is hard. That's really hard for me. It's really hard for me because I feel like I care a lot, I have a big heart, whatever. So I feel like I might overthink certain things or I might care more than maybe I should. Not in a bad way, just, have a certain level of detachment. So there's that. What else? Some of the biggest things that I've learned, I will also say, I guess, be mindful of your space as far as how it affects how you show up in your mind. Because I've realized that when you have a cluttered space, you'll have a cluttered mind.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Cluttered space, cluttered mind. And I tend to have a cluttered mind. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you have a cluttered space?
I do. I do, but I'm aware of it. I'm aware of that. Uh-huh. And I also am aware of what it's like when you don't have that. When you don't have that, certain things just come a little easier. It's easier to just show up and just do that thing you said you wanted to do because you don't have to work through all these different things that you got to look for and all of that. So those are some of the biggest things that I've learned. And just discipline in general. Discipline in general, just have discipline. Because when you don't have it, you don't really free yourself from as many things that you probably want to get to, So it's like, I want this, but I'm not trying to sacrifice or give up things. I follow this creator online. He said, his name is Sean Cannell. And he's like, in order to go up, you have to give up. Something has to be given up for you to go up. I was like, dang, that's a bar. That's a bar. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to get this certain thing, what is that going to cost you? There's a cost and there's a reward. Is the reward worth the cost? Okay, cool. If it's not, then obviously don't do it. But we all say we want these things, but then, only a few are going to put in the work to actually get to it. And if you don't, then what was the point of you even saying that? Right?
Yeah.
So those are some of mine.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, appreciate you. So what are some of the last things that you want to leave the viewers and listeners of the Highlight Reel with?
Ooh. I want to leave y'all with the intention to always set intentions.
Okay. Right? Yes, ma'am.
And to move in your purpose and in your light. Don't let anybody dim your light. just give it your all.
Right.
Like, why not? Literally, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Lacy, I appreciate you. I'm glad that we were able to do this.
Me too.
Because last time I was salty. I was like, Lacy. I was so hurt. But I'm glad that we were able to do it because, like I said, you have a very bubbly and open personality. And I always feel uplifted when I am around you. And like, you're funny to me. And when people are funny, it's like, bro, I like being around that kind of energy. Cause I think that also brings a certain energy and it puts me in a certain space as well. So I definitely am happy that we got to do this.
Me too.
So
My heart.
Yeah. But I do want to say thank you to the listener and to the viewer of this episode. I hope that you were able to take something away from myself and from Lacy, the beautiful and the very awesome artist. Check out her work for sure. I'll put some links in descriptions, all that good stuff. So yeah, but I hope that you were able to take something away from this episode. And with that, that's been your episode. Peace out.